Hello, and welcome to today's webinar presentation of the top scams targeting older Coloradans. My name is Mark Federhoff, and I'm with the AARP ElderWatch program. And the AARP ElderWatch program is a partnership between AARP and the Colorado Attorney General's Office. This partnership has been in place for over 18 years, and what we try and do is educate older Coloradans about the different types of frauds and scams that are out there targeting them. We do that by doing different types of education and outreach across Colorado, and also we have a volunteer staffed call center that's part of the Colorado Attorney General's consumer complaint line. On that call center, volunteers take different types of calls about frauds and scams and business practices they don't think are fair, and other types of reports with regard to that type of work. So later in today's presentation, we'll share information about how to get a hold of folks as a part of the ElderWatch helpline. In addition to that, the work in Colorado, we're also doing quite a bit of work on a national level with AARP, Fraud Watch Network, as well as with FINRA educating folks about different types of investment frauds. So before we get started here today, one question at hand: why might older Coloradans be targeted, or older adults be targeted for financial frauds and scams? And there's a couple reasons listed up there on the screen. Generation of trusting people. They're seen as having wealth or at least a steady source of income. They might be isolated or alone, and potentially more susceptible to a scam because they're not bouncing off ideas to people who live with them or who are close to them. So another thing that could make someone targeted for a scam. They might not be as tech savvy as younger generations. So if you're approached by a certain type of scam that involves technology, you might not be able to recognize that as well. Also, we hear this a lot, but potential health and memory concerns, sometimes medications or issues or dementia, Alzheimer's, those type of things might make someone else susceptible to a scam. And as we're talking today about the different types of scams that are specifically targeting older Coloradans, it's really important to know that scammers out there are not just targeting older adults, they're targeting everyone. And a lot of the scams that we're seeing reach younger folks just as much as older folks, but there are some of these reasons up on the screen might be a reason as to why a scammer might try and target an older adult, thinking it might be an easier target for them. And it's important when you look at this list, think of your vulnerabilities and think of why and how a scammer might be able to contact you and what would make you vulnerable to a scam. And I think everyone has certain vulnerabilities, even folks who are experts in scams and that type of a thing. So it's an important thing to think about what type of scam you might be the victim of. So today, what I'm going to do is go over some of the top scams that are reported to the ElderWatch helpline. And so we'll go through the top 10 scams. You can see the top 5 on the screen right now. But the ranking is based upon the proportion of calls that come into the ElderWatch helpline. And again, that's through the Colorado Attorney General's consumer complaint line. I will say that if you're looking at those top 5 right there, those are pretty common top 5, particularly the top 3. Are ones that have been in the top 3 for a number of years now. And so they're ones that you're probably familiar with and that you might know about already or have been approached by. But we'll go over a little bit more information about these scams so you have a good understanding, and so you can be sure to share the information with your friends and neighbors and family. So if they're not familiar with the scam, they won't be the next victim. And this is the second grouping of top 10 calls, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Again, we'll go through each of these in detail so everyone on today's webinar can recognize, refuse, and report these scams as they're approached by them. So the most common scam that we've dealt with, and this has been going on for years now, are the various imposter government scams. And so oftentimes the scammer will report to be as part of a large government agency that touches many people. For instance, the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, maybe the Treasury Department. And so these scammers know that many Americans rely upon these entities for vital services and funds and that type of thing. So if you're getting notified by them, it scares them right away. So it's really important to know that these entities, the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, are not going to contact you unsolicited. And people, particularly younger people, don't necessarily know this. So it's an important thing to really instill in children and grandchildren that Social Security is not going to give you a call. They just have too many people to deal with to be giving unsolicited calls. So oftentimes when they call you or you get one of these calls, it might be a robocall or it might be in person, but they're usually threatening some type of involvement from a government agency. They're saying that something's wrong with your Social Security, and if you don't fix it, they're going to you're not going to get your Social Security check, or the IRS, you owe back taxes. That's the common one. I will say that right now the Social Security imposter scams have really taken over the imposter government scams, and so don't be surprised, no matter what age you are, if you get a phone call, saying there's an issue with your Social Security, and you need to act fast, and either act fast by paying someone or giving your Social Security number to that person on the phone. So be very, very careful about that. If you get one of these calls, be sure to hang up. And if you have any doubt as to whether that was the actual agency or not, contact that agency yourself with the correct number. But again, 99% of the time, these government agencies are not the ones that are reaching out to you, particularly unsolicited. In terms of reporting, you can there's different places you can report. TIGTA is the Treasury Department's place where you report IRS imposters. You can always report these folks to the FTC and other state and local authorities as well. And there's some reporting resources at the end of this presentation. Sweepstakes, prize, and lottery scams. These ones are relatively easy to identify because they all have one thing in common. And essentially that one thing in common is the scammers will tell you that you won some money, but you have to pay money in advance to receive that money. And so it's an important detail to know that if you ever get one of these phone calls saying they're with an organization like Publishers Clearinghouse and that you won $2.5 million and a new car, but you just have to pay the taxes in advance or pay the shipping for the car or whatever it might be. I've heard lots of really good excuses that the scammers use. That is a scam, and there's no need to continue to engage with these people if they're asking you to send money to receive whatever large sum of money that you're going to get. So, no matter, we've heard them reporting to be with Publishers Clearinghouse, which is an organization that does give out money, but they give out money by showing up at your door. We've heard people say you've won the AARP prize or the FTC is giving you money. These entities are not calling you to offer you money. So please hang up, don't engage with these folks. If you talk to them, they're just going to generate more calls. And throw away any mail offers that seem to be suspect as well, saying that you won some type of a prize, but you have to send them money back in return to receive that prize. Any type of mail fraud can be reported to the United States Postal Service inspector, and there's plenty of other reporting agencies that will tell you that or take your report about these scams as well, including the FTC, Attorney General's offices, and others. We still are seeing lots and lots of these scams and lots of victims of these scams too, because people want to believe that they are going to be the next millionaire. And the folks we talk to who are victimized, I'd love to believe that they won this money, but the sad reality is they didn't. And particularly if you're told that you ever have to send money to receive money, just hang up and don't get yourself emotionally involved into the scam, because it's disheartening, and we see people who are continuously trying to chase this money, thinking that it's theirs, and then never actually getting it, and spending um, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, again trying to chase this money because it seems worth it in the long run if they think they have this big prize, but it's just not true. Number three, tech support and computer virus scams. So this is one of the most commonly reported scams that we hear about in Colorado. And we've had, when we've done surveys of older Coloradans, we found out that upwards of 70% of people have received this type of a scam in some form or another. And it typically comes as either an unsolicited phone call saying that with a large reputable computer company like Windows, or through a pop-up window on your screen, and the pop-up window will say that they've detected a virus on your computer, and right away you need to call the number that's on your screen, and they're going to help you fix it. Of course, they're going to ask you for payment, and they'll also ask you for access to your computer. And that access to the computer is one thing that can be very, very dangerous, because lots of people have personal and financial information on their computer. And if the person, the scammer, is on your computer uh, and they have access to all the files on it, they can, access any of your, hypothetically, if you do your taxes on the computer or something like that, they could access that information if it's saved in your computer. So it's very critical that people know who they're engaging with when they are trying to get some tech support. Um, and that you're engaging with a reputable agency, not someone who's contacting you unsolicited. So if you've ever received one of these unsolicited contacts from a tech support company saying they're, affiliate of Windows or with Dell or with Apple, um, don't trust them. It's a scam. You need to move on, find your own reputable tech support company in your community, or a known entity like Windows itself. They actually do have live tech support online, but it's somewhere where you have to engage with them first. They're not going to contact you first at all. So, you know, understand that these large computer companies do not go out and call you and tell you there's a virus in your computer. Again, like the large government agencies, they don't have time for that. Hang up if this happens to you. Hang up right away on any of these people. If they get on your computer, shut it down, or if the flashing screen comes on saying that there's a problem with your computer, shut it down, unplug it, do whatever you feel comfortable doing to sever ties with that scammer. It's critically important. And if you need to contact trusted support, there's a lot of entities out there that do tech support, reputable entities. People are familiar with organizations like Geek Squad, but lots of other communities have their own, you know, local tech support companies. Also, a lot of people have friends and family members who are quite tech savvy themselves. So if you have a question, always can talk to a family member or a friend who's on the computer a lot, and have them look at your computer to see if there's any type of malicious software on there, or if you need to update your antivirus, or whatever it may be, to get through this problem. This can be a very complicated scam, depending on how far people get in with scammers, but we've definitely talked to people who've gotten in very far with scammers, and as bad as things happen, scammers might access their bank account or other types of things like that. So again, any unsolicited contact by someone saying that they're with a tech support agency is something that you need to hang up on. You can report these types of scams like other ones to the FTC, Attorney General's Office, IC3, which is the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, and many other places will take complaints about these type of scams. But again, try to avoid them to the extent you can, because they're still out there and they're getting people left and right. Home repair and improvement scams. I like to classify these types of reports as two different things, or two different ways. And the first way would be a kind of a straight up scam where someone shows up at your door. They say they are going to do a project for you. They're going to ask for money in advance to go get supplies, and then they're going to come back and do the project. The straight up scam is often there's no contract or anything, and the person or people who perpetrate the scam never come back, and you don't know how to contact them, and you don't know what to do next, but you're just out the money. And so that's kind of the more straight up fly by night workers or contractors who show up at your door. The other type of report that we get with regard to home repair and improvement issues are conflicts that people have with a contractor. The project wasn't done in time, it wasn't done to someone's satisfaction, just all different types of issues that someone might have